Good morning. My name is Susan Miata. The Nigeria team of the Emerging African Innovation Leaders has developed 2 projects. I'm honored to present the second project, the NPR Competence Center. Nigeria. We're Africa's biggest nation with 198 million people. We're also the continent's largest economy. But are our potentials only as large as our challenges? Nigeria is burdened with the world's highest number of people living in extreme poverty, the largest number of out-of-school children, and high unemployment rates. In terms of critical infrastructure, 55% of the country's population lack access to electricity. This figure is even higher in rural areas at 64%. There still exists a 90% dependence on road transport due to the underdevelopment of water, rail, and air transport. According to Siemens African Digitalization Maturity Report, Nigeria is rated 35% in skills and digital literacy and only 18% in economic maturity. Darkness. Sadly, this is the reality for many Nigerians. For the past 4 weeks, we have been in Milano, and the electricity never blinks for a second. But when I say darkness, I don't refer only to electricity. I refer to lack of hope, lack of opportunities, and lack of empowerment. Therefore, in order to address some of these challenges and to leapfrog sustainable development, the Nigeria team proposes the establishment of a Next Production Revolution Competence Center, NPRCC. The purpose of the NPRCC is to provide a multi-stakeholder and one-stop center for the education, demonstration, promotion, and diffusion of NPR across various industries and sectors in the country. The NPRCC will be built on 3 main pillars: energy, mobility, and digitalization. In order to ensure its sustainability, it will be established and run in partnership with a Nigerian university. The NPR Competence Center will embark on a series of pilot projects to demonstrate NPR within its key areas. Our 2 flagship projects are the mini-grid with blockchain technology projects and introduction of digital technologies for birth registration in Nigeria. However, for the purpose of this presentation, we'll only discuss the mini-grid with blockchain technology projects. Some of the SDGs that this project tries to achieve are shown below. As an NPR project, the mini-grid and blockchain technology places people at the center and employs latest technologies and innovation to solve problems across all phases of the project, from its development to its construction and operation. The project is going to use the Mobility, Energy, and Digitalization Plus, or MED Plus, decentralized blockchain technology, so as to provide access to reliable data and to enable and to increase investments in the sector. So why now? And why Nigeria? For the past few years, Nigeria's federal government has provided a robust policy and regulatory framework so as to encourage investments in the sector. For instance, the 2017 Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission mini-grid regulation states that mini-grid projects below 100 kilowatts do not require permits. Those within 100 kilowatts and 1 megawatts do not require licenses. Why now? Nigeria is ripe for the next production revolution. Trends in the energy, mobility, and digitalization sectors all demonstrate the preparedness of the country for NPR. For instance, the number of internet subscribers in Nigeria has grown tremendously from just 28 million in the year 2012 to 103 million in 2017. Equally, we now have an 84% mobile phone penetration with 146 million subscribers. Nigeria also houses over 55 technology and innovation hubs scattered around the countries. There are also increased investments in our railway and transport sector. In all three sectors, increasing data availability has been identified as a key requirement, and the MPRCC helps to achieve this. As part of our strategies, we are going to make efforts to provide support for businesses, for agro-processing, and for manufacturing. We'll also train and engage community members in installation and maintenance of the mini-grid. But particularly, we'll pay attention to providing support for women and other vulnerable groups, so as to promote economic development, tackle poverty and unemployment. The market opportunity is also promising. Nigeria's mini-grid market has a revenue potential of $8 billion US. Also, successful projects record a 15 to 20% return on investment. Studies also show that mini-grid costs in Nigeria are expected to fall by as much as 50% within the next 3 years. Therefore, we ask you to join us as we bring light to Nigeria, as we bring hope, as we bring opportunities, and as we bring empowerment. Thank you. I'll now hand over to my colleague for the second project.
Thank you very much, Susan. I'm sorry. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Donald, and I'm very honored to present the second project conceived by the Nigerian team. So the title of the project is Capacity Building Program on Energy Management System. Without further ado, because I think the day is fast spent and we're really sort of running behind time when I look at the schedule. So I'll quickly jump to the problem. What motivated us to consider this as one of the projects which we're presenting to the advisory board? It's that of huge energy intensity and losses across the manufacturing sector, power distribution companies, commercial sector, and public buildings in Nigeria. In order to give you a good sense of the consequences of this problem, if you think about the Nigerian power distribution company today, with specific reference to the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's report of the first quarter of 2018, out of $10 worth of electricity distributed by the Nigerian distribution companies, $5.5 was lost, unaccounted for, owing to a combination of technical and non-technical losses. On the other divide, you look at the manufacturing sector. The goods manufactured in Nigeria does not compete with those imported in China, neither does it even compete with those imported from Europe. And the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics has it that the highest cost of operation to manufacturing companies is that of energy. Every organization in Nigeria does self-generation using primarily diesel. And this constitutes a high level of emission to the environment with no recourse to any form of energy management. And this is why many of the small and medium-scale enterprise, maximum is 10 years, and they fold up. And if you take the statistics, a number of them account their main problem to energy unreliability and unaffordability. In the public buildings, the situation is not different. There is practically no government agency that is not indebted to the utility companies with respect to the monthly electricity bills. They are not able to pay, and many times they use self-generation to complement the supply from the distribution companies. So, if you put all of this together, one begins to think that this problem is borne by only those without access to electricity. But you'll be wrong, because if you imagine that everyone, including those without access to electricity, buy the goods that was produced inefficiently, they are also victim of this high inefficiency in the country. So we are all trapped in it, whether you have access to electricity or not. Because if the production process was efficient in terms of energy, there's a high chance that the unit cost of goods manufactured by these local companies will be less. Take, for instance, the bakeries that produce bread, which everyone consumes. It could be sold at a cheaper price, and the people can save money for other very pressing needs. What are we recommending as a solution? We're recommending an aggressive implementation of energy management system across these ecosystems that I just mentioned. But again, like every new part that a nation decides to embark on, there would be some challenges. We have anticipated some of the challenges, and this is the essence of this project. This project, which is the second project the Nigerian team is presenting, seek to eliminate all the challenges, or most of the challenges, that would forestall or hinder the implementation of energy management systems in Nigeria, and to also support the operations of a startup energy services company. This is the essence of this project. Now, the strategy to doing this is as follows. So what we intend to do is, first, we would do a training program for fresh graduates from the university and existing industry staff on energy management system and how to implement this. These people that have been trained would then participate in implementing energy management systems for 20 selected organizations. Out of this effort, they will develop 20 energy efficiency projects and implement these projects in these organizations. Thereafter, we will do a holistic review of the entire program in order to carefully assess what is the benefit, if we want to scale this to the whole nation, what could be the benefit for the nation, and what could be some good policy intervention that we can put forward to the government to consider in order to ensure seamless implementation of energy management system across the Nigerian energy ecosystem. We would organize a workshop to share this information not only with the government, but also with an enlarged stakeholder forum comprising of prospective investors who would fund the energy efficiency programs that will be developed going forward. And we would then plan a scale-up phase in collaboration with the startup company to do more energy management system intervention initiatives for other organizations. We estimate that, this is just to show you the procedure, which I just mentioned now. We estimate that the project will cost about 300,000 euros and will be completed in 41 weeks. So why now? These are just the milestones for the project. I think for the sake of time, we will not be able to go through all of them, but they have been carefully articulated, though there's still room for adjustment. But these are the milestones and the associated cost for attaining each of the milestones. So why now? If we think of the Nigerian electricity power sector today, with a very close reference to still the same first quarter of 2018, the sector recorded a shortfall in revenue of approximately 67%. This is clearly showing that we are sitting on a time bomb in Nigeria because our power sector is not viable, but you'll be asking how is it that it's still functioning? Thanks to the provisions made by the federal government with the support of the World Bank under this program called Power Sector Recovery Program, in which they have made provisions for the shortfall in the electricity market for the next 4 years. These 4 years expires in 2021. What happens after 2021? Today, there's this huge shortfall, which means that electricity is not affordable in one sense. Okay, so with the huge losses by 2021 and nothing is done, what then becomes the state? How would you ask, and how much would you expect the tariff to be? Astronomical. Disaster. And this is what we want to forestall by putting measures in place to drastically drive the losses in this sector down before the expiration of 2021. Again, when you think about the huge drive towards IT and other innovations in Nigeria, all that points to one thing without making the energy sector very strong. Huge amount of diesel that will be burnt on self-generation because that's the cheaper option to go with. It's easy to buy a package generator and you're in operations than to set up a solar system and stuff like that. This is always the option most businesses take to. And it's oftentimes reliable and they know how to maneuver this easily. So if we do not do energy management system today, it means that amount of pollution will be on the increase and it will be hard for us to comply with our Paris Climate Agreement, which we signed to. Lastly, if we think about the huge energy inefficiency in our system and the absolute no implementation of energy management system today in Nigeria, you can imagine the prospect of that business. By our estimate, we expect the business of energy efficiency in Nigeria to be in the range of billions of dollars annually. But again, we need to give investors accurate information on the potential size of this market, which is the essence of this project, to be very precise on the figure and hope to attract foreign direct investment, which is very much needed today in the country, in a bid to support the government's efforts in diversifying the streams of income for the country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is at this point that I would like to, on behalf of the Nigerian team, express our strong belief and confidence that it is only by aggressive implementation of energy management systems in Nigeria and institutionalizing an NPRO competency center that we are sure of leapfrogging into an Industry 4.0 system. Consequently, we do solicit the support and commitment, not only from the advisory board, but from all of you here, to see that these projects which we have will be implemented. In our team, we are a multidisciplinary team comprising of people with a diverse background, from energy experts to economics and academicians, still an energy expert and also a researcher, and a business entrepreneur, and that's in the direction of energy as well. Thank you very much.